and gentlemen, let's hear it for the Aquaba drummers, led by Mr. C. Prasad, who is a multi-talented gentleman, ceramicist, great artist and drummer. Please don't leave us because we have to have the ceremonial drum here when we make our presentations. We have been invoking our ancestors from Africa and India and the diaspora because this is a very special occasion and our ceremonial drums are here to celebrate with us. Welcome back to this, our Career Hall of Fame, in which we are now going to be honoring our world-class, outstanding, and remarkable Jamaicans to remind ourselves of the great talent that we possess and that we often take for granted. I would like to ask everybody to come forward and be seated. I know some people are scattered because of lunch, but this is a very important ceremony. I don't know if my staff have been able to get Dr. Thompson and her mother down. I'm sure that they would want to be part of this. She was our very first inductee. Mr. Orrit Roden also has been an inductee in the Career Hall of Fame. And we are going to invite you, after this ceremony, to go to our website, www.jobsandcareersjamaica.com, and look at all the people who have been inducted into our Career Hall of Fame. We have so many wonderful people. And my committee this year chose 4 outstanding persons who we are going to honor and recognize. Before we do that, I would like to tell you a little bit about the Career Hall of Fame, its rationale, why we have it, and why it is so important to us. The Career Hall of Fame was established to recognize and feature Jamaicans and Caribbean people of excellence at home and abroad. Jamaicans have put their mark of excellence and exceptional talent on many different spheres of endeavor, both at home as well as part of the wider Jamaican diaspora. Although we are best known for our musical legends like Bob Marley, our history of exciting track and field stars, our great cricketers, and innovative tourism entrepreneurs, Jamaica claims many sons and daughters whose endowments extend to other intellectual, artistic, and professional achievements. It is therefore important for us to single them out, to recognize, honor, and celebrate their distinctions and valuable contributions as world-class citizens and success stories. This is to enable us to not only share in their proud heritage, but to identify with their achievements and all that is best in ourselves as a people. This is particularly important at this time as globalization challenges us to retain our authenticity and cultural confidence in the face of powerful forces which can erase or enhance our concept of who we are, what we have to offer to the world, and where we position ourselves in an increasingly competitive environment. It is also important for our children to see success reflected in their own image, so they too will be inspired to reach for the best in themselves and write their own life scripts, plans, and goals, to live their dreams and attain world-class achievement and success. The objectives of the Career Hall of Fame are to induct, recognize, and feature on our website, www.jobsandcareersjamaica.com, each year, Jamaicans or persons of Jamaican or Caribbean heritage who have achieved excellence and world-class status in their field of endeavor, and to use those inducted to inspire our youth and Jamaicans from all walks of life to reach for success and their highest potential, with the main aims of building national pride, networking and building bridges with the diaspora, creating a national data bank of successful Jamaicans from across the world, developing a Career Hall of Fame to motivate youth, creating solutions for youth and partnerships for social and economic change. This, in turn, we hope, will have the desired effect of strengthening personal self-esteem and cultural identity of Jamaican people and people of Caribbean heritage. We hope it will inspire confidence and raise the bar of achievement, that it will share practical insights and secrets of success, that it will showcase role models and success in our own image, that it will also identify powerful motivators and present their voices and perspectives, that it will share the success stories of Jamaicans and persons of Jamaican heritage with Jamaica and the rest of the world to counter negative images and to build positive partnerships for development, that it will feature Jamaican success stories, and that we will all come to celebrate the greatness that is within us and amongst us. We thank you. And now we're going to invite like Cedric MacDonald, representing the Ward Theatre Foundation. Is he here? We'd like you to come forward because we are going to have a posthumous citation, first of all, to Mrs. Ruby Martin, the late Mrs. Ruby Martin, and we're going to ask everyone to mark the moment with a pause for silence. We can hardly believe that Ruby, as we knew her, is no longer with us. She was always here and such a vibrant part of this event. So I'd just like you to pause for a minute in memory of her. You know, she was that wonderfully gracious, elegant woman and a great philanthropist. We pause to remember a remarkable woman who walked with us only yesterday and whose aura still makes an impression on us as we reflect on her life and legacy. The late Ruby Martin was a woman of indomitable spirit and dedication who worked tirelessly and passionately at any undertaking on which she focused her attention. The Maxfield Park Children's Home and the Ward Theatre Foundation were two such lucky recipients of her attention and dedication. In a sense, both causes were linked by Ruby's two great loves: the Jamaican people and their right and honor in preserving their dignity, culture, and heritage. Ruby treated the Maxfield Park Children's Home with the same meticulous attention to detail as she did the Ward Theatre, and both were held in her special custodianship with respect and pride. She served with distinction, and she demanded much of those who came to serve or who she chose to serve alongside her. But she always matched her demands with an equal measure or greater demand on herself and gave everything in her effort to accomplish what she set out to do. This made her a philanthropist and cultural ambassador par excellence, and she carried the role with beauty, elegance, and professionalism. She was ruby resplendent, and she shone and stood out with a wonderful clarity and sense of purpose. She received national honors and international accolades for her work and came to make friends with many cultural leaders and fellow philanthropists across the world. Her great pride, however, was her Jamaica and its heritage, and she has charged us to care, value, protect, and preserve it, in particular the Ward Theatre, which she considered a wonderful national icon. Today we honor her memory and pay tribute to her lasting work and memory as we induct her into our Career Hall of Fame. And we take this opportunity in her memory to call all Jamaica to the task of restoring her beloved Ward Theatre and our national treasure. It is with pleasure that we bestow this posthumous citation on Mrs. Ruby Martin and invite members of the board of the Ward Theatre to come forward and to honor her as we induct her into our Career Hall of Fame. We now ask everyone to again observe just a minute's silence before we ask Mr. MacDonald to come forward to receive the award. And I'm going to ask Mr. Everett Powell, our artist who designed the award, to come forward with the awards. Now, I must tell you, before Everett makes the presentation, that in former years what we did was we had young people come up here and read the citations. We'd find people from the schools that our inductees went to, and we would ask them to read these citations so that they could see themselves in the people. They would see them at the same schools they went to and so on. Unfortunately, this year, Sandy blew away some of our schools, and so we were unable to meet with them to get this done. So I'm doing it all solo mio today. But what we really want is that our young people will take these citations, learn from them, see the people, understand that they've gone through the same journeys and experiences as we have. They are Jamaicans, and yet we rise and we make our mark. So I'm now going to ask Mr. Cedric MacDonald if he would step forward and receive the award for Mrs. Ruby Martin. Cedric, this is a posthumous citation, and we have to confess to you that our framing is not yet complete, but we are going to make a symbolic presentation which you'll have to give back to us, and then we will actually have your citation for you. So if you could please turn it. Make sure it doesn't say somebody else's name, Mr. Powell. We have to improvise, you know. And we'd ask you just to...
Betty and Blaine.
Yes, it's not for her. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. We just asked Mr. MacDonald just to say just a few words, and then we'll move on to the other citations.
Thank you very much, Gillian. On behalf of the Water Foundation, I'd just like to thank you for this very kind thought in remembering for esteemed late Chairman Ruby Martin. Ruby was a powerful force for the last 40 years. I had the pleasure of serving with Ruby for over 20 years and about 25 different voluntary boards, in particularly Maxfield Park and the War Theatre. Ruby was invincible, unstoppable. She brought a level of passion to everything that she did. And we continue to persevere in her memory to restore the ward. It celebrates 100 years this year in December. And we just want to thank Gillian, who also has been very supportive, and to thank Hamilton Knight and Associates for this very kind thought of honoring Ruby. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Cedric. We try to give our citations while we have our friends with us, but we have given two posthumous awards. One was to the late Ken Ramsey and Ruby Martin. I want to say that I think we all need to become engaged, as Ruby was, about preserving our heritage. I know that Bishop Taylor is here, and at his service last Sunday, they spoke very passionately about the decay of downtown and what it means to the people living in those communities. It symbolizes to them their own decay and abandonment, and we are going to have to get involved. I have a lady who has been, I think, involved all her life. It was in her DNA to be involved, and she has been so passionate that sometimes people wonder, why does she feel so strongly about matters? And she is going to be our next inductee, Mrs. Betty Ann Blaine. Betty Ann Blaine, woman of faith, woman of formidable courage, children's advocate and champion of youth. Today we honor and recognize your achievements and salute you as a blessed daughter of Jamaica, voice of children, woman of God, and true servant leader. We have felt your passion in fighting to right the many wrongs that besiege our country, but it is your love and constancy in caring, defending, and protecting the children of Jamaica that we know have been the cornerstones of your mission, vision, and life's work. Today we hail you as Jamaica's foremost children's advocate and for your dedicated work in uplifting the youth of our country. And we take this opportunity to recount your achievements and to trace your journey as a leader. Betty Ann Blaine, born in Jamaica to Jamaican parents who crossed the social divide, you forged your own identity, took a leap of faith, and answered the call to serve God and your country, after much soul-searching and personal sacrifice. A graduate of Medgar Evers College and Hunter College in the USA with a bachelor's and master's degree, your first calling was as a history scholar, and you could have remained in the United States where you had studied and worked as a lecturer. Yet you answered the call to return to your native land, Jamaica, gave up your dream of becoming a professor of history, and answered a higher call to serve and champion the cause of the voiceless and most vulnerable in our society, the children of Jamaica. Starting by coming to the rescue of Vouch, which was about to close through lack of funding, you raised funds to keep the organization alive. And since then, you have been raising funds and raising awareness of Jamaica's most pressing issues, particularly regarding our abused and missing children. You founded Youth Opportunities Unlimited in 1991, Hear the Children's Cry in 2002, and its Missing Children Support Program in 2009. Through your visionary leadership and tireless efforts, those two organizations have made an impact both on the children and youth of Jamaica, as well as on the consciousness and conscience of the nation. You have helped to develop our youth through initiatives such as the successful pilot program, Prevent a Dropout, through other preventative and remedial work, and through parenting and child safety workshops and national youth health projects. You have also consistently advocated for action and legislation to stop and prevent the national crisis of our missing and abused children. You have been unwavering in your belief in and call for a more compassionate, just, and righteous society. You are pioneering at the moment a course for children, for childcare related to professionals. And you have been fearless in calling for better governance and greater accountability. This has led you most recently to start a third political party, New Nation Coalition. Notwithstanding the demands of public life, your valuable work as a social entrepreneur and advocate, you're also a columnist whose heart-to-heart column is read by thousands of Jamaicans and radio talk show host also. You are unafraid to confront the most controversial issues. Betty Ann Blaine, we salute you as a children's advocate, outstanding servant leader and woman of courage and faith. And we now induct you into the HKA Career Hall of Fame and present you with our 2012 award. Would you please step forward, Mr. Powell, and would you please give Betty Ann a big round of applause? I have to hug her because this is a wonderful woman.
Wow. Well, when you're working, you don't remember you did all of those things. I just have to tell you. But thank you, Gillian, and I'm very humbled and honored to be inducted into this prestigious Hall of Fame. Just want to say that any appreciation of the work that I've done and the team of us, because I certainly couldn't do it alone, any appreciation of that, to my mind, by extension, is an appreciation of the children of Jamaica. And I really want to thank all of you for valuing the children. And many of you may not know that Gillian Rowlands is the chairman of our board at Hear the Children's Cry. So I too want to congratulate Gillian Rowlands. Gillian, let me just say this, that you are the mover and shaker here. Whenever I come every year, you're working. But we forget that she's also the visionary for this, and you've done it for 11 years, staged this expo at tremendous odds and challenges, sometimes not getting maximum sponsorship, challenging weather conditions. I mean, we're having this a couple of days after Sandy passed through. And I really want to ask all of us in this room to give Gillian Rowlands and her team a resounding round of applause. We'll continue to fight for the children of Jamaica. It is about the children. And my motto is, When we fix that, when we fix family life, we will fix Jamaica. And so I just want to encourage us, all of us, to keep looking out for these children. We are working on missing and abducted children. And a lot of Jamaicans don't know that every single month, on an average, at least 150 children are reported missing. It must be the highest in the world per capita. Now, this is a problem that we can solve. We can solve it, all of us, by simply, everybody, looking out and paying attention to the children. This is a small country. And so I just want to implore you to let us continue to fight for these children. They are the future. Well, certainly the present and the future as well. Because sometimes when we say they are the future, we forget that they are the present. And again, I just want to say thanks. I want to congratulate my fellow inductees. I mean, Verene, I'm honored to be in your company. Donald Quarrie and I grew up together in Harborview, so he's also a friend. And of course, I was such an admirer of Ruby Martin. So I want to thank you, Gillian, and God bless you. Thanks.
Thank you, Betty Ann. I have the great job of meeting these incredible Jamaicans and just being inspired. It's just awesome. I met Betty Ann a few years ago, and her spirit really has infused me and allowed me to do my work and to be more courageous. I want to thank you. And our next inductee is a woman who I discovered by chance. I was asked to do a paper on culture of work in the Caribbean. And suddenly I found this wealth of information about our heritage, about our journey. Being a Jamaican of mixed heritage, having African and Indian, I found all these voices, all these people who were part of my heritage, who I knew nothing about, because when I was at school, we didn't learn anything about our history. We're studying about the War of the Roses and what was happening in Europe. We knew nothing about what was happening, with our own history. And so to find this documented and to find it in a way that I could feel it as real was something incredible. So long before I met Dr. Verene Shepherd, I was a great admirer of her work. And I hope all the young people here will have the chance to read that work, because so many of us know nothing about our history and our heritage. So it is my pleasure to read this citation and to pay tribute to Dr. Verene Shepherd. Dr. Verene Shepherd, social and economic historian, gender specialist, lecturer, fellow of the Cambridge Commonwealth Society, and host of nationwide 90 FM's Talking History, chairman of the United Nations Working Group of Experts on People of African Descent, prolific author, woman of intellect, beauty, and humanity. You write her story and make history the story of a people's passage, told with deep insight and compelling human narratives. You bring the past alive and place it in our consciousness so that we connect with our ancestors, our DNA of hope and struggle, and our yearning for equity, human dignity, and understanding. We recognize, value, and honor your work and remarkable achievements, particularly in raising awareness of women's contribution to socio-economic development and in dispelling negative gender stereotypes of women, for making us look at ourselves and our history from an authentic Caribbean perspective, and in so doing, enriching our understanding of our historical context and role in shaping the African and Indian diasporas. Permit us now to trace your story and your distinguished achievements. Dr. Verene Shepherd, born in Hopewell, St. Mary, Jamaica, your intellect and scholarship have transcended boundaries of gender and geography and made you a universal citizen. You attained a BA and a Master of Philosophy degree in history from the University of the West Indies and a PhD in history from the University of Cambridge, and became a professor in 2001, the second woman in the history of Mona department to achieve such a remarkable accomplishment. You were appointed to the UN Human Rights Council Working Group of Experts on People of African Descent to represent the Caribbean and Latin America. In this capacity, you have helped to fight against racism and racial discrimination and have facilitated greater cultural exchange and understanding. Through your work as a historian, researcher, prolific author, gender specialist, lecturer, university professor, and custodian of Jamaica's national heritage, you have helped to raise our understanding of where we come from, who we are, and our potential for the future. You have also contributed to a worldview on race relations and greater understanding of our common struggles and humanity. And for this and all your outstanding achievements, we take great pleasure and honor in inducting you into our Career Hall of Fame. Dr. Verene Shepherd.
She said she wants to hold it for me, but I want to look at it. Put it where I can see it. I want to thank you, Gillian, and your team for paying me this great honor. As my colleague Betty said, we just do our work. But when we realize that our work has impact, it is a wonderful thing. Everybody knows that history is my passion. We take our history for granted in Jamaica. We don't honor it. We don't make it a compulsory subject in our schools. In my view, that's a crime against humanity. Because every nation, every civilization, every people must be connected to the history. I asked a young woman a while ago from one of the schools, have you ever read any of my books? And she said, no. And yet I've done 2 texts for CXC history simply because parents and teachers were asking people at the university, write something for us because we're not satisfied with the books that we have in the schools to teach our history. Many of them are written by people outside of our region, but we don't adopt the books in our schools written by the historians among us. And yet we are the ones telling you what is wrong with what you are learning today from those who don't know you and don't care about you. Marcus Garvey said, history is the landmark by which we are directed into the true course of life. We have a beautiful history, he said. We will create another that will astonish the world. Thank you very much for being here to share this moment with me.
I just want all of us to stand to signify our pride in these wonderful Jamaicans. Let's just stand and acknowledge them. Because so often we do not get to acknowledge the great amongst us. Can we just give them a round of applause? Because of people like Betty Ann Blaine, Dr. Verene Shepherd, and Donald Quarrie and others like Orrit Roden and Shirley Thompson, I'm so proud to be a Jamaican. I know that we have such greatness in us and we have such heart, and we have to now bring that to lift the country. So for me, this is a great joy to do what I'm doing here. And, you know, today has just been such a blessed day. I thank you all for being here. Now, Donald Quarrie was doing his best to join us. And, you know, that Sandy blew the way of the United States as well. But we took a decision that we would also honor him in absentia. We've done it before. We did it for another legend, but under different circumstances. And we certainly are going to try to arrange when Donald comes to Jamaica to get all the inductees together, because we would also like him to have felt what it was like to be here today. But I am going to read. Now, I wonder if anybody here can run like Quarrie. Anybody here can run like Quarrie? Boy, I don't know who I'm going to get to come up and take this award. It struck me when I started to read Donald Quarrie's biography that he came into the sports long before there was any big money in it or big celebrity. It was that you ran with your heart and your passion, and you know, you got your fame and fortune afterwards, but it wasn't what you set out to do. Mr. Donald Quarrie, sports ambassador, living legend of track and field, Olympian, gold medalist, internationally acclaimed athlete, and one of the fastest sprinters the world has known. You knew what it is to truly go for your goal, winning 3 gold medals at the 9th Commonwealth Games in Edinburgh, Scotland, and gold in the 200 metre in the Olympics in Montreal. Representing Jamaica 5 times in the Olympics, you have blazed a trail of outstanding achievements and distinguished yourself among the best sportsmen in the world. Tribute has been paid to you in song and statue. Praises have laureled your path to success, and yours is the pedestal of champions. Starting as a schoolboy sprinter at Camperdown High School, winning at boys' championships, and making the 1968 Olympic team while still a schoolboy. You continue to run your race and make your curve to success, to gold, to be the best, and you continue to serve the coaching and voluntary sports world through your work as an ambassador. We salute and honor you with pride as we induct you into our Career Hall of Fame. Now, someone said to me that that was the shortest citation, but this man was a fast sprinter. So I gave him a sprint. And I know that when he comes to Jamaica, we are going to meet with him. So I'd like a drum roll now to everybody. I want you to sound the drums. Well, I don't know, I didn't mean for that to be a sprint, you know. I meant to have some real celebratory drumming. And the last time we did this, Diana McIntyre Pike, where is she? She got up and started to do Dinky Mini and Brockins and show off all kind of dancing. Unfortunately, I got caught on video trying, but I've asked them to erase it. But please, give us a good round now. Do your thing. Get up and dance if you want to.